Hi Piyush, hi Monica.
Hello, Manish. How are you? Good morning.
So we started recording the session. Okay, fine. From yesterday's class, any things which came to your mind that you would like to ask and share or
So,
something like
Manish, just one point I wanted to discuss with you. When I went through the slides and all, it was like the way we studied on the technical part. There
that?
is not much there was nothing
There
technical
will be
in the
nothing.
slide.
This is
Yeah.
nothing technical, and this certification I told you also
Hmm.
yesterday that
Hmm.
you don't have to sweat with the technical part of it. It is just a kind of, I would say, I'm trying to acquaint you with the technical aspect
Uh,
also,
uh,
because it will help you understand the questions better. You'll be able to
uh,
appreciate it. So it is
yes, yes.
very important that you understand a little bit of technology. I'm not telling you to
Mm-hmm.
go deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
My aim is not to scare you. The aim
Hmm.
is to make you a little more aware. So when the person is asking plainly from the management point of view, it
Hmm.
is also important that you understand the plight of the technical people, what they're going. So
Hmm.
you may say just change this particular feature, but it may
Hmm.
require some 100, say 20, 30 hours of hard work, and
Hmm.
it may not be so feasible as the manager feels, or as the higher management feels that it should be done within a day or so. So mid-level
Hmm.
management has to appreciate the requirement of the higher management, as well as also at the lower level where the people are actually working on the ground. So that is the
Hmm.
idea of having the information security manager, that the team which you are leading should be able
Hmm.
to gain a complete trust on you, and that will
Hmm.
only and only if you understand at an emotional front, you are able to understand their plight. They may not
Hmm.
expect you to understand the technology or what kind of coding they are doing or what kind of technical work they are doing, but they will
Hmm.
definitely expect you to understand the way the work happens fundamentally, and then appreciate their one change means how much amount of work, that kind
Hmm.
of thing taken out of you. So because of that, because there will be many questions, there will be many terms which will be thrown from network security side, that
Hmm.
you have set up a particular network and this and that. So it will never be a technical question, but you will be able to now appreciate better that what happens in a network and how a network security works, right?
Yes, yes. So for that, I was saying, will it be okay for you to share the slides which we went through yesterday, so
Actually,
that
there was
I
not a
can?
single PPT I referred. I referred Google. I did lot of CISP slides. You will get totally
Okay.
confused. It is just not
Oh,
recommended. You will
okay, okay.
basically move on a tangent, and I don't want you to do that. So even today's session, whatever I am trying to cover, it is for you
Mm-hmm.
to just appreciate that something like
Mm-hmm.
this. Because if you start reading upon this, it is endless, and it
Endless.
will take
Yeah.
you to a different tangent, and you will stop studying for CSM. So first, you clear your CSM. That should be our aim, and
Okay.
these acquaintances of technology is aimed at bringing to broadening your thought process and your application of pandas to broaden
Mm-hmm.
those aspects, and that is the only
Mm-hmm.
aim, so that you are able to appreciate a question better. You don't waste time thinking ki, okay, what encryption, or what do you mean by encryption, I don't know anything about encryption. So that kind of
Mm-hmm.
doubt should not come in your mind when you see the question, right?
Okay, okay. Then it is fine, Manish. Then in that case, whatever discussion we had on domain one yesterday, I attempted the questions again, and then
Okay.
I was able to do it. So from that business requirement and legal aspect, I think I'm quite clear. Thank you for the clarification yesterday. I also attempted some questions. I mean, I was trying to read domain two from the book, and it has first self assessment questions, right?
Yeah.
So there is a question which I'm not quite convinced with the answer. So maybe you want to help me out. I mean, if I'm not understanding the logic properly.
Sure.
So this says to address changes in risk,
Mhm.
an effective risk management program should.
Question number?
To third, should I share my screen?
No, 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 that's okay. I have the book with me. To address changes in
Okay.
risk, an effective risk management program should
Yes.
ensure that continuous monitoring processes are in place, establish proper
Mhm.
security baseline for the information security resources, implement a complete data classification process, and change security policies on a time base to address changing risk. Right?
So C is completely, I mean, that we can, I mean, that I was able to say that, okay, data classification and this won't work. So, okay, this is not the right answer. B is also somewhere not the
So
right
let's
answer
tell you
because.
that firstly you should remember is what are the risk management steps that should be always there in back of your mind. So yeah, right.
Okay,
Hmm?
okay. Because in that, because it says risk, first we have to identify, then
Yeah.
we have to do the assessment, then we have to, and on basis of that, only
Mhm.
I thought that D is the right answer because first step would be to change the security policy. But apparently A is the right answer where they're saying, okay, from the identification perspective, how we will identify is through the continuous monitoring. Now I got it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Address
I was thinking
means
that they
change the
have
risk.
to change.
See, the
Okay.
understand the change in the risk means there is already something existing. You are not starting at it with from scratch. There is already something existing to address the changes in the risk. So already something existing. Now you have to address something which is changes in the risk. So you have already implemented. Now you want to address the changes. An effective risk management program should. So now something which is already established to address the changes. What should the effective risk management program do? Ensure continuous monitoring processes that are in place.
Okay, okay.
And D is change security policies on the time basis to address the changes. Now, again, right. See, again, there will be always two questions which will be in your mind. So, security policies and everything starts from when you are starting from scratch, when it is a greenfield project, right? That is a time, yes, you will review the policies first and then you will understand the business and all that what we have studied. But here the question was changes. So, what should imply is that something already exists, right?
Exists. Okay, okay.
Now,
Understood now.
if there was nothing, then B was also a very good contender. If there was nothing, then you have to even have a proper baselining in place and implement a complete data classification. So B, C, D are all when you are starting from the scratch, right?
Okay, okay, understood. Now, question number 4,
Yeah.
information classification is important to properly manage risk primarily because actually the answer is
So these
D.
are very
Uh,
tricky things. Before I see the answers
uh,
only, whenever they are saying
okay.
primarily, where they are saying
Hmm,
most, okay,
hmm,
first,
hmm,
so these words
hmm,
they are highlighting also. So you
hmm,
say that this is a tricky question. Firstly, second is that there will be multiple answers which will be looking correct because he used the word primarily and he's made it bold and he's highlighted it. It means that he's asking you, he's given us you a scenario and he wants you to apply yourself in the scenario and all may be correct, but as per you, what is the
hmm,
most correct in that scenario, in that situation? So he says he's not given a very big situation. He's just put a two line that information classification is important
hmm,
to properly manage risk primarily
hmm.
because
I
now
was
you get
thinking that C is the right answer because we do it because it will ensure the we have adequate protection in place. But apparently it is D, basically going one level down, saying adequate protection is based on the potential consequence of compromise. But in the classification, when classification is done, then it is done on the basis of potential consequences of compromise itself. So I thought that within information classification, D point is covered. Now they are saying what is the importance of it. So importance, in my view, it was C, but apparently it was D, and D is more seems to be the why we do information classification and. Information and okay, and C is what will happen. I mean,
so
it's
let's
the
see.
same or
Let's see.
one or the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, let's see from my perspective. Now, I am reading it for the first time because I don't know when I read these questions earlier. So, information
Hmm.
classification is important, okay, to properly manage risk. Okay, I want to manage risk. For that, my first step is information categorize, making a list, then categorization and classifying them, right? So, information
Hmm.
classification primarily. Alpha
Hmm.
says ensure accountability for information resources. That is correct. It is a legal requirement under various regulations. This is also correct. At times, there can be a legal requirement.
Hmm.
C. It ensures adequate protection to assets. Okay, commensurate to the degree of risk. बिल्कुल है 100%. It gives that
Hmm.
commensurate to the degree of risk. This is protection the asset, and delta is
Hmm.
asset protection can then be based on the potential consequences of the conflict. Okay. Now again, B and A are out because B and A are right,
Hmm.
but not that relevant to this
In the
question. Primarily.
context of the question,
Yeah.
yes, they are not that relevant. Yes,
Now
I
C
agree.
is also saying the same thing, and D is also saying the same thing, and but the context is going totally opposite. D
Hmm.
is saying that asset protection can be based on potential consequences of the compromise, and always and every time we are always at the consequence level. What
Hmm.
Whenever we are doing a risk management, we are saying that what if it gets, if it realizes, if the risk realizes, the consequences are going to be and that is how you are going to protect the assets and work upon it. So consequences is the end result, and whereas C is saying the start phase, that is you will be protecting it commensurate to the degree of risk, right? But degree of risk, how have you come to degree of risk? Based on consequences only,
By
na?
information security classification. Yeah. Actually, you see, whenever we also say that even for the people who comes and ask why you need us to do sensitive assessment or classification, then we say that we need to put the proper controls in place so that we know if this information is sensitive or not. And we also tell them not to over classify their assets, because sometimes what happens is these people they keep everything as critical and then it's very difficult to manage. So this was one of the real time scenario which I had faced, where all the BIA's business has put us as critical, and they were saying we want to recover each and everything when the disaster happens. So this is also not a good practice. So that is why I was thinking that information classification is needed because you want to protect it, but it is saying it's on the basis of consequences, which is part of information security. So it is still not very clear to me why D is the
So
most.
there is only two things that we understand, and then the clarity would come in. What is a degree of risk and what is a consequence of compromise? If we understand these two terms, then probably we would be absolutely clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you see, degree of risk. How do you determine the degree of risk? There is nothing like a degree of risk in risk assessment process, right? There is nothing like a degree of risk or something. We are classifying based on criticality and sensitivity. We are not classifying degree of risk. So if I asset which is to be classified, it is based on sensitivity and your criticality. They are the two measurement things based on which I will categorize it, right? I will now security classification further to high, medium, low, or whatever 7, 8, 9, 10 has to happen. It is based on the risk assessment that this particular asset, which is a critical asset, which is an important asset. Now, how much we will do threat assessment, we will do risk assessment, we will do vulnerability assessment, right? All these three, four processes. This is the first stage of risk assessment, right? In the first level, we are doing these 3, 4 things, and then finally giving it, ranking it, and rating it, and then coming to a conclusion. And all of that has nothing to do with degree of risk as such, right? We have not, in fact, used this term of degree of risk anywhere in the documentation.
Okay.
Although if you fundamentally understand and whatever you are saying is right, but sometimes again it is a test of English. At times it comes because this term degree of risk is generally not in the literature itself. We don't use degree of risk, and
Yes.
whereas consequence of compromise or the end result is always used. So potential consequences of compromise are used. So then it becomes the correct answer.
Okay. Okay. Other than that, I was able to solve all the other questions.
Just
So
a second.
these were the yeah.
Looking at the manual also to give you some reference.
Mm.
Well, these are very important discussions. These are the ones which actually will make a right question, wrong question right, and right wrong, because these options are so close that it looks similar only. C and D actually means the same thing if you ask me. Okay, the difference is degree of risk encompasses both the probability of threat exploiting a vulnerability and the potential impact of the exploitation, right? A degree of risk encompasses both the probability of the threat exploiting the vulnerability and the potential impact of that exploitation. That is the degree of risk by definition. Whereas consequence of compromise focuses solely on the outcome of the damage resulted from the successful exploitation of vulnerability. So this is the primary difference, the two terms, and we are always focused on consequence of compromise and not degree of risk, because degree of risk encompasses both the probability as well as impact. We do risk assessment which will define degree of risk, not the other way around. Your information classification will not define degree of risk, but your risk assessment will definitely define a degree of risk or likelihood, which would say, right?
Oh, okay. Now I'm getting it why D is the right answer.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, it is a play of words, and it is just definitions which probably you have to further go slightly deeper into, and then understand. Because finally, as a manager, you are going to be not involved in the technical work, but yes, These kind of terms should be absolutely clear, and what are the differences between them. So even I had to refer, to be very frank, because after reading up, you tend to forget. So even I had to read up, and then only I was able to give you a clarification on that. But I hope the clarification is now clear to you.
Now it is clear by understanding degree of risk, because what was happening is, in the more layman terms, it was more like degree of risk is how much we are going to protect ourselves from the risk, right? But
Yes.
it is a different kind of definition. Okay. Okay.
Further, if you go on the last side also,
Hmm.
no, they have not defined the degree of risk anywhere in the.
No,
I'm
no,
looking
no.
at
In the
the,
slide, I couldn't see
not
in
on the
this
slide,
at
even in
least.
the manual. I'm looking at the degree of risk defined somewhere.
Hmm.
They have defined defense in depth. They have defined the DMZ. They have defined. And in the definition part also, the glossary. Yes, so they have actually not defined it in this particular. No, they have in the glossary also they have not defined degree of risk, and consequences. Compromise is, I think, will not be defined because it's not a term in itself. It's just the yeah. So they both of them have not been defined as such in the glossary as well as in the reference sheet which is given. So I think so. If we see the assessment part, degree of risk evaluated during the risk assessment process to determine the overall risk level, which I told you in my layman explanation also. It will be in the overall risk level and prioritizing the mitigation efforts. So degree of risk will be the end product of the risk assessment, where after you have done risk assessment, what will be the degree of risk, probably you will be able to tell, whereas consequence of compromise is considered when analyzing the impact of the specific security incident or breach. So
Are
it
you
is in
reading it from somewhere?
yeah, I just googled it, the difference and all
Acha,
that.
acha,
So
Google it.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
okay, okay.
and I'm also referring to the document. So document I don't find the difference, but I just googled it. Further, it says that a degree of risk helps organizations identify, prioritize, and mitigate risk based on their likelihood and impact. So this basically is a risk itself, which is given in terms of degrees, right? How heat map or something like. So it is degree of risk talking of risk, whereas consequence of compromise help organizations understand the potential damage of a breach and develop appropriate response to recovery plans. So now you see the consequence of compromise is coming at the initial stage where you are actually doing the classification process in itself. So the answer therefore would not be C, and it would be D.
Okay,
Right?
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, understood. Maybe after few days when I'll come back, then maybe I'll
Yeah,
understand
see,
it
see, the
more.
thing is
Or
that you see, there is nothing. See, there is no shame. Even I am telling you that I'm googling it, because after some 10 days also, whatever, if you are not continuously brushing up on these key concepts, we tend to go back to where we were, in the sense that we are talk. Our environment is such that we talk degree of risk and consequences of compromise, and understand. Our mind understand is the same thing, right? When we loosely
yes.
use both of them and understand in the similar usage. Whereas when we are doing the certification, it is very clear that you have to use the correct term and understand the correct term. So they the aim is to pull your level up to that standard wherein you are able to differentiate between the two. And over a period of time, if you are not daily using, your work profile does not require you to daily use these terms, then probably you fall back to the same standard. However, you will still remain CISM certified, so there is no problem as such. And you can always refer and understand again and reread, and every time you read this manual or go through this presentation again, even after you are certified, you will find that you are gaining something new, and going deeper and deeper and deeper. And the aim is that also, that you put you rolling onto that direction. It does not say that after this you will be Superman or Superwoman. It says that we have acquainted you with the domain, and now aim is that you build your knowledge in this and expertise into this particular.
Okay.
Any other question?
No, no, no. That's fine.
So this starting discussions, I would say that they are the gold part of our preparation for the certification, because this is where the problem is, where your thought process has to get channelized in line with how ISACA wants you to think. And yes, more, in fact, these questions, if you can mark and review again, because again you will have the same thing. And if you do the problem question where you got stuck, right, those questions you should mark, and don't write out there, just mark them again. Out of 80 100, 80 you would be right, and say 75 to 80 you will be right. So So 25 only you have to review again. And before exam, if you are able to review the wrong ones multiple times, then I can assure you that it increases the success rate to many folds in a very productive way, because you are again revisiting the concept and again challenging your thought process. So never write an answer, mark an answer there itself. However, mark that this question I did is wrong, and then again do that wrong question and refer to the answer later, right?
Okay, okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
Now, I told you yesterday whatever I had covered. I'll give you a technical demonstration of it. Again, will be a very aim is not to for you to get taxed by the technology, or don't start reading upon to whatever I'm showing you. But please understand and take it as an overview for you, right? So, yeah, I'll share the entire. Okay, can you see the entire screen of mine?
Not yet.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I think it's coming up. Yes, it has come up.
So it appears that the network is not very fast.
I don't know what's problem with Airtel these days, even in Bangalore.
So now can you see a virtual
Yeah, I
box?
can see. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm
Oracle
opening
VM Virtual Box. Yeah.
So I'm opening a software called Kali Linux, if you would have heard about it. It is used in pen testing at BAPT. It is used. Okay, I'm just opening a browser, and the aim would be to show you how the browser is communicating with the Wi-Fi router and to the Google server. So this software runs on a virtual machine, so it's sometimes a little slow. So you can see one Firefox web browser which is open over here, where I'm showing you. Now I'll just go to the Kali Linux software, and I'm opening a tool called Wireshark. Have you heard about Wireshark before?
No.
Okay, this is a packet sniffing tool. What it does is it just captures all the packets which are flowing in that particular network, right? So now this is a live packet flow is being getting captured in the live network, the network on which my computer is. So it is taking all the is capturing the. So right now I've not used the browser at all, and I'll just stop it. Let's analyze what all network has, what all traffic was flowing. So it is stopped capturing now, because if we don't stop it, then it keeps capturing, and then we are not able to analyze. In fact, this file can be taken, downloaded, and later on analyzed. Right now we are not going to waste too much time in it, but I just want to give you a overview. So this is saying that this is a source IP, right? And this is a destination. Now source IP ideally should be my IP. So let's see what is my IP. I go to terminal. I say ifconfig, and it says that 192.168.0.169 is my IP. Understood? This is 169 is my IP. My IP is trying to reach out to. We are in the starting. So there, yeah. So let's start with the ARP part, because ARP we discussed yesterday, right? So now TP-Link, this is a MAC ID. TP-Link 8EF476, right? Now you see, if you translate further, 8E74F6 is actually 9C82F4 8EF476. Okay, this is the MAC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the MAC number is asking the network interface card in protocol ARP protocol. Length of the packet is 60 bytes. Who is 169, which is me. Tell 1. Normally in any network, dot 1 would be the first. It is the gateway router, right?
Acha.
Yeah. So that is a basic the way when the network is set up. Dot 1 is the gateway router, which is given to gateway router, and 169 is mine. So now this feeling, which is 9C colon A2 colon F4 colon 8E colon F476. This I noted on a piece of paper. Now we are just opening, and we say who is we are just asking Google, huh? They're not anything. 9C colon, it was 82 or so. 9C A2 A2 8E F4. So it is saying that when we say vendor lookup, MAC address vendor lookup, one website has come up that this MAC first 3 is for TP-Link operation. So if you are able to sniff a network and you are able to capture these packets, firstly you will come to know about the vendor, and what this vendor does is we can easily come to know that what TP-Link operation does. It makes Wi-Fi routers, right? So now we can say that latest vulnerabilities in TP-Link router. It says that there is a vulnerability which is associated with TP-Link AC1350 wireless router. There is many and used to home networks. So the vulnerability CVE, okay, we copy it. I'll say how to exploit CVE, so on. So it is that simple. Now NIST has come out. denial of vulnerability. Okay, now vulnerability here. So it says that there are multiple vulnerabilities and we want to exploit for so and so. Now there is one particular person who is telling you there is an exploit existing for so and so vulnerability, right? So let's just see. Okay, this is a vulnerability which has been identified in TP-Link. No, it is not that vulnerability. We are looking at vulnerability for 49074. 49374 49074.
It went. Yeah.
It's a denial of service vulnerability existing on TDDP functionality of TP-Link router. So and so, specially crafted series of network requests can lead to reset to factory settings. An attacker can send a sequence of unauthenticated packets to trigger this vulnerability. So
And
now,
this is still in analysis phase.
yeah, this is a description of that particular vulnerability. What this vulnerability is. What is the severity? Severity of this particular is NA.
Because they're still doing the analysis. No, they have not done the assessment.
No. There is already, I think there is already a patch which would have been released. So weakness enumeration.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, let us go ahead. Publicly available information. And okay, we don't want to know that. We reference to advisory solutions and tools. Okay, because it may have information. This does not necessarily endorse. Okay, fine. So there is a hyperlink. There is 749 expose CV name expose dangerous methods or functions. So let's see. CV 749. It is not 749. We have do somewhere else. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that just by doing a little bit of study on that particular vulnerability, we can actually find exploits. There are people who would have put exploits of this particular vulnerability already on the net. And if you go to GitHub, if you do it, Git how to exploit, GitHub for this particular vulnerability, then there will be few Gits which would tell you and teach you how can you easily exploit.
Yeah, I have seen that for one CVV in my previous in one of my incident which has happened on one third party application vulnerability was there, and for that we had seen that it was all over the internet. The patch was also in the on the internet, and I mean they had said how do you patch it, and also about how can you exploit it.
And the patching, the problem is that what I was reading about this is that despite people knowing this vulnerability is a 1-year-old vulnerability, and you can see here is the score 7.4 out of it is a high. It is in a high category, and the attack vector is through network. So when we say the attack vector is through network, it is very easy to reach out. If I am part of that network or I'm able to get the access to the network, if I'm part of the network, then I can easily be attacking this, and complexity is high. Okay, privileges required is none. I don't require any privilege to carry out this attack. I just have to be part of the network as a user. Also, basic user also, I can launch this particular attack. Okay, so this particular CVV and is published by is already published by NVD database, and you can see the references. When you read the references, there will be definitely how to attack and these kind of things would be known. And when we talk of protocols, like here is the ARP. So now I was showing you what ARP does, right? So ARP is again and again asking, the TP-Link is asking the network interface card ARP, who is this. Now this chap has replied that this particular chap is this. So this is my MAC ID. Okay, this is so this 169 is at MAC number so and so. So now you see, because the communication has to happen between two devices having a particular MAC number, layer 2 communication happening at MAC level. So they are doing a resolution of IP into MAC number, and now this particular router knows, TP-Link knows that okay, when I send a data to 169, it means it is going to this machine. So he has a table where MAC number versus IP address is written. That table now he will update, and he will continuously keep on updating, because this ARP resolution, it happens every, I think, 30 seconds or 45 seconds. There is a time limit. Now this ARP is continuously will be happening. So if we further see this ARP, again the ARP has started. Who is 69? Again the same MAC number has come. So there are, if there are multiple devices, it will keep on asking, and then all the devices will keep telling that I am so and so. This is this IP is so and so. This IP is so and so. Again this ARP, right? And if you go and if you see, I have config. This is the IPv your IPv6 address. This is your IPv4, which is 169. And second MAC number.
Hmm.
Linux hypertext. Yeah, here it is. This is the MAC number which has come, right? It 0 to last is C1. So let's see. Yeah, last is C1. On the network itself, you will keep seeing so many protocols. So there is a transmission control protocol I told you. So there is between me 169 and this particular IP. A TCP communication is happening at of 66 bytes, and you can see the port number also, port 80 on HTTP. The right destination is this thing, and source port is so. Now you have to understand this particular protocol, what is happening, why it is happening, and then you can easily understand.
For full course video training, visit MildainTrainings.com. Register now.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.